The latest on the pistol brace rule now out of the U.S. Senate after the U.S. House passed a measure that would reverse the Biden administration's ATF rule that requires registration of pistol braces or hefty criminal penalties. The Senate last night voted 50-49 to reject that House Republican resolution overturning the pistol brace rule. So that's some of the latest when it comes to the issue of firearms and gun control and those pushing back against it. Welcome in Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop with 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. You can always find me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. Be it YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can also email me, bishoponair@gmail.com. I got a message on YouTube from somebody saying that locally they were trying to find me. At one point we were on 970 AM and then we were on 94.7 FM. But now we're exclusively on 92.7 FM in Central Illinois. But of course, streaming worldwide at YouTube and Facebook. So be sure to search that out as well with clips of the program, various interviews and listener segments and so on. So let's get into this because it's important to kind of know where we were and where we're headed because keep in mind, I mean, you still have, from my understanding, a lawsuit that's currently going through the process challenging the pistol brace rule where there was an injunction issued and the injunction essentially was only impacting those who sued, like, the FPC, for instance. And Gun Owners of America as well. So members of those groups safe from enforcement. But the House Republicans over in Washington, D.C., they looked to essentially slap this rule down by passing a law. It passed the House. It did not pass the Senate last night. But let's go back and hear what President Joe Biden had to say is the rationale behind banning so-called pistol braces.
Made it harder for people to buy stabilized braces. Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon, a higher caliber bullet coming out of that gun.
Just hearing that seems to, in a way, for those of you who know firearms, it's like the president has no knowledge of firearms. Let's listen to this again because there's a lot there in that 12 seconds of the president speaking earlier this month, talking about pistol braces.
Made it harder for people to buy stabilized braces. Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon, a higher caliber bullet coming out of that gun.
So make it harder for people to buy stabilizing braces, put a pistol on a brace, it turns it into a gun. Again, this is the president, and this is, verbatim quote. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon, higher caliber bullet coming out of that gun. A pistol brace does that. Not the barrel, not the platform. A pistol brace does that. According to President Joe Biden, he's the top of the administration and the ATF, following his lead, filing these rules. So we'll just leave that there as far as President Joe Biden's take on this. But also earlier this month, you had the Heritage Foundation's Amy Swearer talk about why this is a problem for the Second Amendment when she was testifying about the pistol brace rule and how problematic it really is.
The ATF also told potentially millions of American gun owners that despite a decade of ATF assurances to the contrary, their pistol-braced firearms were actually heavily regulated short-barrel rifles. And if these gun owners want to keep their pistol-braced firearms without immediately being branded as felons, they'd have to register each gun with the government and pay a $200 per gun tax. Otherwise, yes, the ATF is coming for their guns.
So the Heritage Foundation testifying to that effect, and you still had this lawsuit that was carried on. Plus, you have the House passing a resolution to reverse those rules. That was in the Senate last night. Let's go ahead now hear from both sides of the debate here when it comes to what happened on the Senate floor. And first, we'll start with Senator Chris Murphy, and he essentially laid out that the pistol brace rule needs to remain in effect. Here is U.S. Senator Chris Murphy laying out his rationale for keeping the pistol brace rule in place.
America is crying out for this Congress to do something about the epidemic of mass shootings. We average more than a mass shooting a day right now. Kids are living in fear when they walk into school. People don't know where the next shooter is coming from. No place seems safe. And so what is Senate Republicans' answer to this paralyzing fear and anxiety that Americans have about mass shootings? Their answer today is to put a resolution before the floor of the Senate that would make legal a new class of semi-automatic rifles that has been banned for 100 years because they're too dangerous. So the answer to the mass shooting crisis in this country is more assault rifles, more dangerous weapons, taking a class of weapons that has been illegal for a century and putting them on the open market.
So again, Chris Murphy, senator out of Connecticut, Democrat, supporting the pistol brace rule that House Republicans were trying to overturn. It did not pass the U.S. Senate last night. And let's hear what Senator Kennedy had to say about this particular rule and the problems with the regulation on law-abiding gun owners. And I will say that one of the arguments is that the pistol brace, it's important for individuals who might have only one limb. It gives them the opportunity to better have some accuracy and utilize the tool of a firearm, even in self-defense. So here is Senator Kennedy talking about this on the Senate floor yesterday.
Trigger warning. This is a pistol brace. I know it's scary. This is a pistol brace. It fits on your forearm like this. Put up that. Here it is, right here. To the pistol brace is added another piece that grips the handgun. That's what we're talking about here. A pistol brace is also known, this scary piece of equipment here, is also known as a stabilizing brace or an arm brace. It's a simple device. It's mounted to the rear of the pistol. It's designed to anchor the pistol to the shooter's arm, right here. It goes on the forearm. So the shooter can shoot the pistol with one hand. Now, why is that important? Because some Americans don't have two hands, or the use of two hands, or two arms. Pistol braces were invented to help handicapped people, particularly handicapped veterans who don't have use of both of their arms. You don't have to be a handicapped person to use a pistol brace. Some studies have shown that there are as many as 40 million pistol braces in the United States that President Biden wants to outlaw. Not 4 million. 40 million, and most of them, I would say virtually all of them, are owned by law-abiding citizens.
So you can imagine some could argue that that is commonly owned. And that's one of the arguments that we hear against gun and magazine bans in the state of Illinois, that you cannot ban commonly owned firearms. And then you get into the question, is this a firearm? Apparently, President Joe Biden, just to again compare, the statements that Senator John Kennedy just made there with what President Biden said earlier this month, just to hear it again, because it's pretty remarkable when you really get down into it. Here is the president again talking about pistol braces.
Made it harder for people to buy stabilized braces. Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon, a higher caliber bullet coming out of that gun.
So, just comparing the knowledge base of these two individuals and the arguments over the pistol brace rule. So we'll see what happens. Of course, the court case still goes on, but with this efforts that was done in the House and the Senate, not advancing it all the way through, even though President Biden said he would have vetoed this anyways, still it's an important thing to have in your purview.